Your brain wants you to be fat. Actually, your brain has a weight that it wants you to be. And right now, it's fighting to keep you there. And there's scientific proof. Roughly 80% of dieters regain most of all of their weight that they lost within 2 years. But here's something that nobody's ever told you. Your brain has a hidden setting that's been fighting you this whole time. It's called your body's set point. And today, I'm gonna show you how to reset it. My name is Dr. Michael Diamonds. I'm a medical doctor, scientist, and a pro-natural bodybuilder. I'm also the founder of Sculpt by Science, where we've helped thousands of busy professionals lose the weight, but keep it off, especially when nothing else worked, because the first fix is the brain. And by the end of the video, you'll know the 5 brain switches that can control your weight and exactly how to flip them in your favor. Switch 4 is one that changes everything, especially if you're over the age of 40. So let's dive straight into it. Switch 1. It's called the dopamine reset. Your brain has become desensitized to food, and I don't mean this as a metaphor. When you eat ultra-processed foods constantly, chips, cookies, the fast foods, research shows that your brain down-regulates dopamine receptors over time. So dopamine is your pleasure chemical. Fewer receptors mean you need more food to feel the same satisfaction. This is exactly why the first cookie or the first slice of cake will always taste the best compared to the 3rd, 5th, or even 10th. So this is why one chip can become an entire bag. One cookie is the entire sleeve. Your brain is chasing a high that it can't reach anymore. But this is the good news. We can reverse this through what I call the dopamine reset. So here's the protocol that I want you to follow. For 7 days, I want you to eliminate all ultra-processed foods. And I only want you to eat whole foods, protein, vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats. You're going to think that you've actually been placed on another planet, but this is exactly why it's a reset. So use what I call the protein first rule. So with every meal, start with protein first. It's gonna blunt your cravings and it's also gonna keep you full. And I'm not going to lie to you. Days 1 through 3 may feel tough, but this is exactly why you need to do it if you think this is gonna be a challenge. You'll have the cravings. You might even get headaches because these are all caused by the foods you've been eating, causing a withdrawal. And it's a sign that you need this reset. Push through. By days 6 to 7, something incredible happens. Your taste buds reset and real food starts tasting amazing again. An apple will start tasting sweet. Grilled chicken will start tasting satisfying. And this is a sign that your brain is actually healing. This isn't about restriction forever. It's about giving your dopamine receptors the chance they need to regenerate so that you can actually enjoy food again without needing to eat an entire pizza to feel satisfied. Switch number 2, the leptin wake-up call. Leptin is the I'm full hormone, right? It's released by your fat cells to tell your brain, stop eating, you have enough fuel. But here's the problem. 90% of people dealing with obesity are leptin resistant. So think of your brain like a thermostat. You set it to 72 degrees. If the room gets too hot, the AC kicks in, right? Too cold, the heat turns on. Your brain does the same thing with body fat. It defends this set point. When you're leptin resistant, the thermostat is broken. Your fat cells are screaming, we're full, but your brain isn't hearing it. This is why you're like, I don't know, I can't stop eating. And the signal isn't getting through. So your brain thinks that you're actually starving even when you're not. This is why dieting feels like torture. So when you restore your leptin sensitivity, there are 3 things that happen. First, sleep. Poor sleep is the #1 leptin killer. And I'll break this down in switch number 4, but just now, if you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours, that means your leptin is compromised, period. Second, reduce inflammation. Inflammation blocks leptin signaling. Cut out the seed oils, reduce sugar, and omega-3s from fatty fish or fish oil. I want you to start having those. And then the third is stop crash dieting. When you slash your calories too hard for too long, your brain thinks that it's in this famine state. And essentially what will happen is your leptin tanks and your hunger skyrockets. This is when you're relying all on your willpower. So here's my hack. Every 10 to 14 days at a caloric deficit, eat at maintenance for 1 to 2 days. These aren't cheat days, they're strategy days. And when I say eat at maintenance, I mean eat the healthy foods just in bigger portions. And this will help keep leptin active, your brain stays calm, and fat loss can continue. But before we move on to the next point, if you've ever felt like your body was fighting against your diet, like no matter what you did, the hunger never stopped, let me know in the comments if that's you. I want to hear your story, and this answer might help someone realize something that they've been missing too. But let's move on to switch number 3. It is the cortisol calm. You could be eating perfectly, training perfectly, and still hold on to body fat. And the culprit for this is cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it doesn't just make you store fat. It makes you store it in the worst place possible, deep in your belly and wrapping it around your organs, and that's what we call visceral fat. It's dangerous, it's linked to heart disease, it's linked to diabetes, and it gets worse. High cortisol also spikes cravings, especially for sugar and junk food. It blocks your ability to feel full. It makes you eat more even when you're not hungry. And these are your hormones that are hijacking your behavior. And most people never even realize when these things are happening. I've gone through this. This is why I'm so passionate about it. And I want you to think of your nervous system like a massive electric panel in your house. Every stressor, your work emails, deadlines, traffic, maybe arguments, maybe money worries, bad sleep, is a switch that gets flipped on this electric panel. And the more switches that are on, the higher your cortisol levels are. And the higher cortisol levels are, the more belly fat you're going to store. And those switches, for most people, stay on all day, every day. You need to start flipping these switches off. So here's your daily cortisol control protocol. It takes 10 minutes minimum. Morning sunlight, get outside within 30 minutes of waking. Light hitting your eyes can regulate your cortisol rhythm. Breath work, just 5 minutes of slow breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and after the exhale, then hold again for 4 seconds. And that's one cycle of box breathing. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and this will manually lower your cortisol. An evening walk is also going to help you with killing and bringing down cortisol. Even just 10 to 15 minutes is a game changer. If there's a lot on your mind, brain dump, journal, write it on a book, write everything down that's in your head. Get things out. This prevents this subconscious. This will help you with your subconscious and will prevent those switches from staying turned on. And research even shows that mindfulness practices significantly reduce stress, and your food craving behaviors can change completely, especially how your brain's currently wired. You're training your brain to stay calm doing these activities. And I always tell my clients this: meditation is a bench press for the mind. You need to be mentally fit before you can be physically fit. Now, switch number 4. It's the sleep reset. Now, remember how I said switch 4 changes everything for anyone over the age of 40, and this is the reason why. When your brain doesn't sleep enough, your brain is declaring the state of emergency. It thinks something is wrong. There's a threat. There's famine, there's danger, and it responds by making you more hungrier and slowing your metabolism, thinking that get what you can and keep it until we can get out of this phase. And this isn't theory. This is even measured in blood work or even a Dutch test like we do with our clients. Now, researchers at Stanford tracked 1,000 people, and they found something that is stopping you in your tracks. People who just slept 5 hours versus 8 had 14.9% of the hunger hormone, ghrelin. The more ghrelin you have in your system, the more you want to eat. And at the same time, it showed a 15.5 decrease in leptin, meaning your fullness hormone wasn't working. So do the math. That's nearly a 71% shift in your hunger to fullness ratio from just sleeping less. And here's what shocked these researchers at Stanford. This happened regardless of the diet or exercise or even their blood type. Sleep changes your hormones. So Why does this matter more when you're 40? At 40, your hormones are already under stress. Men are losing testosterone by 1% per year starting from the age of 30. Women are experiencing estrogen changes during perimenopause and menopause, and sleep deprivation on top of that. Add that to the sauce, and your brain has no chance of releasing fat. You're fighting a losing battle. So this is the 10-3-2-1 protocol. So write this down. 10 hours before bed, no more caffeine, because caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, which means in 5 to 6 hours, you'll still have half of that caffeine in your bloodstream. 3 hours before bed, that should be your last meal. You don't want your gut still working when you're trying to sleep. That means at 7 p.m. should be your last meal. 2 hours before bed, no more liquids. And also I recommend stop working or doing any stressful activities. Give your brain time to wind down. And then 1 hour before bed, we want to stop all screens. If you can, wear blue light blocking glasses. These will help block the blue light and produce melatonin, the hormone that can help you fall asleep. Keep your room cool, 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and your body needs to drop its core body temperature for that restorative sleep. And if you're doing everything right and you're not sleeping 6 to 7 hours, you're driving with basically your parking brakes on. So fix this first. Switch 5. The movement multiplier. This is the final switch, and it amplifies everything else. And this isn't about even burning calories. There's a molecule in your brain called BDNF. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Harvard psychiatrist John Rady calls it the miracle grow for the brain, and for good reason. BDNF grows new neurons in your brain. It creates new neural pathways. And here's the key. BDNF in your hypothalamus directly suppresses your appetite and it increases your energy expenditure. So exercise can increase your BDNF by up to 300%. And here's what most people get wrong. It's not about intensity. It's more so about consistency. Even moderate walking can produce significant signals to increase your BDNF production. So this is the BDNF protocol. A minimum of 30 minutes or more of movement daily. Walking steps count absolutely, 10,000 steps minimum. Work out 3 to 4 times a week, resistance training, and lifting can actually amplify the amount of BDNF produced in your brain. Plus, this will help you preserve muscle tissue and also help you lose fat. This will also keep your metabolism high. Bonus, if you can, do the Japanese walking technique. 3 minutes of a fast walk. I'm talking about those speed walks you see some of the old ladies do. That's 70% effort. And then 3 minutes of moderate regular walking, right? Then repeat this for 5 times. And that's 30 minutes with massive benefits to your metabolism. It has massive benefits to your cardiovascular health. And here's why it matters. When you exercise consistently, you produce BDNF. And BDNF can even help suppress your appetite. And lower appetite will make it easier to lose fat, right? You'll start eating less, and eating less will help you. Losing fat can also improve your sleep. It can improve your cortisol levels, right? Which means you'll have less belly fat storage. So you see how all these 5 switches work together? That's the power of this system. Each one amplifies the other. So let me give you a 30-day roadmap, right? One that you can implement yourself right now. So week 1 is going to be about the dopamine reset. I want you to eliminate all processed foods, ultra processed foods, protein first in every meal, push through the cravings. Week 2, let's optimize our sleep. Add the 10-3-2-1 protocol. Track how many hours you're sleeping. We need to get 7 hours minimum. Week 3, add cortisol control. We want morning sunlight, evening walks, daily breath work, and journaling. Week 4, full integration. All 5 switches have your movement protocol in place. Fine-tune this process depending on how your body's working. And if you're learning something new, leave the video the gentle thumbs up, and I will do this consistently for you guys and talk about different topics because that's exactly what you've asked me for. And now that you understand how your brain can control your weight, you need to know the fastest way to actually execute on this. Watch this video next. It's the fastest way to go from 30% body fat to 10% body fat. I break down the exact step-by-step system, including the training, including the meal timing, which meals to prepare, and a realistic timeline. I'll see you in that video. Cheers.